Well, we have reached 101. So we have reached the time for which we formally noticed this meeting. And knowing everybody is looking forward to the events of this week and probably has a lot on their plate, let me call us to order this afternoon for this special called meeting of the board. Of course, the purpose of our meeting today is twofold. We need to act on the recommendation for the next president at the TCAT Nashville. And we also need to consider the search criteria for the presidency at TCAT Morristown. I know this second one comes to us as a bit of a surprise, and the chancellor will speak to this. But of course, Jerry Young has done such a tremendous job for us at Morristown, but is making his own plans for the next chapter in his life. If we have other folks from the system or any media or other dignitaries on the line, welcome. And just a reminder to everyone that we are recording, and this meeting, of course, will be available on the TBR website. So with that, Mariah, Secretary Perry, would you call the roll for us, please?
Yes, Vice Chair Reynolds. In accordance with TCA 844-108C3, there are two questions that need to be answered by regents for the record. First, can the regent simultaneously hear and speak with others participating in the meeting? And second, is the regent alone in the room? If the answer to both questions is yes, the regent can simply answer yes to both questions. Anyone who is not alone should identify any other people present in the room with the regent. When I call your name, please answer these two questions. Governor Lee. Regent Apple.
Here and yes to both questions.
Regent Burdine.
Here and yes to the first question. Second question, I'm in a restaurant, but I'm alone.
Thank you. Regent Duckett.
Here and yes, I am alone, and I can hear.
Great. Regent George. Regent Gill. Regent Green.
Here and yes to both questions.
Regent Hatch.
Here and yes to both questions.
Commissioner Hatcher. Regent House. Regent Powers.
Here and yes to both.
Regent Reed.
Yes, and here to both.
Vice Chair Reynolds.
Here and yes to both.
Commissioner Schwinn. Regent Shelton. Regent Shelton, I'm not able to hear you. Do you mind to repeat that?
Here and yes to both.
Thank you. Regent Thompson. Regent Barlin.
Yes and yes.
Regent Wamp.
Yes to both. I'm here and yes to both.
Thank you. And Regent White.
I'm here, and to paraphrase Mr. Magoo's Christmas Carol, I'm all alone in this world.
Oh.
Thank you.
Oh.
Vice Chair Reynolds, your board is assembled. Also, I want to make you aware that we do have some presidents on the line as well as the candidate being recommended.
Oh, very good. Thank you. Thank you. I'm worried about Tom being a little lonely there this holiday season. Oh, guys, we need to do this one more time. You will recall we need to establish the necessity to meet electronically. And of course, we were asked today to meet electronically to act on a recommendation from the chancellor, of course, for the presidency at the TCAT Nashville, and also once again to consider the search criteria for the same position at Morristown. Since we have such a limited time between the selection of the candidate being recommended today and the desired starting date for that individual, along with the need to begin the search in a timely way at the TCAT Morristown, we, of course, given our physical distance, we could not assemble a quorum efficiently, hence the necessity to meet electronically. So with your permission, I will entertain a motion to meet electronically, please.
So moved, Hatch.
Thank you, Regent Hatch. Thank you, Regent Varlin. Any discussion? Hearing none, Madam Secretary, if you would call the roll once again.
Regent Apple,
Aye.
Regent Burdine,
Aye.
Regent Duckett,
Aye.
Regent Green,
Aye.
Regent Hatch,
Aye.
Regent Powers,
Aye.
Regent Reed,
Aye.
Vice Chair Reynolds,
Aye.
Regent Varlin,
Aye.
Regent Wong,
Aye.
and Regent White.
Aye.
The motion carries.
Thank you very much. I would now like to call on the Chancellor so we can receive her recommendation for the next president of the TCAT Nashville. As excited as we are about the opportunity before us, I know for that outstanding staff at the TCAT Nashville and for the family of Mark Lenz, I know this is still a sad time as our wounds heal from this unexpected loss. But in the tradition that Mark would expect us to continue, the business of our TCAT Nashville goes on and goes on very well. And with that, Chancellor, if you would provide us with your recommendation, please.
Thank you so much, Regent Reynolds. And I do want to take a moment and thank each of you for being on this call today. This is the week of Christmas, and I know that all of you have much going on in your world. So thank you very much for taking time to help us complete this extremely important piece of business. As Regent Reynolds said, it is with mixed emotions. We are very happy to have a new president coming on board, but still all of us are in deep mourning for the loss of President Mark Lenz, who passed away unexpectedly in September. You as a board came together very quickly and passed on September 24th the criteria and the ability to go out and recruit for the next president of our college. We did have a 17-member search committee, which was comprised of faculty, staff, alum, students, and community members, as well as our board members. Your time and dedication to this search was impeccable, and a special thanks goes to each one of you for participating in this. With deep gratitude to Regent Joey Hatch, who served as the chair of our search committee. Our other board members were Vice Chair Emily Reynolds and Regent Wanda Reed. I also want to thank Associate Vice Chancellor April Preston and Carol Tomlinson in our central office for doing such a great job of recruiting and coordinating for this search. As all of you are aware, we do not use a search firm for this. April and Carol become our in-house search firm, and as Joey Hatch said on a couple of occasions, they do such a good job that we're really worried they could go out and open up their own search firm. So we have to keep them happy and keep them attached to us. After very careful review of the applicants, interviews, and input from the Search Advisory Committee, Madam Chair, I am pleased to recommend to you at this time Mr. Nathan Garrett as the next president of TCAT Nashville. Mr. Garrett is currently an Assistant Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs and Workforce Alignment at the Board of Regents. Nathan has extensive experience in aligning TBR's academic programs to industry need. He has led 40 colleges in the management of the United States Department of Labor Apprenticeship Program and has substantially grown TBR's apprenticeship programs and has secured grants from the U.S. Department of Labor as well. Mr. Garrett recently served as the interim president of TCAT McMinnville, where he and his team increased the traditional enrollment there by 25% and dual enrollment by an increase of 150%. As a result of the enrollment growth at TCAT McMinnville, the college had an overall 15% increase in annual tuition revenue. Prior to his appointment as interim president, he was an assistant vice chancellor at TCAT Murfreesboro and at TCAT Memphis, where he served as the assistant director. Nathan is currently working on his doctorate in executive leadership with a higher ed concentration from the University of Memphis. An excellent pool of candidates were brought forth through this nationwide search, but by far we felt like Nathan Garrett was the best choice going forward for TCAT Nashville and the success of its students. If adopted, Mr. Garrett will begin work on January the 5th, 2022, with the standard presidential allowances and state of Tennessee employee benefits.
Thank you, Chancellor, for your recommendation. It certainly sounds like an outstanding one. And again, to the committee, thanks for taking part. As always, Regent Hatch did a great job in chairing this search. And Joey, I think you have a few comments on the search itself.
I do. Thanks, Vice Chair Reynolds. Mr. Nathan Garrett was one of 3 finalists chosen by the Presidential Search Advisory Committee from 18 applicants from around the country. The search committee held its first meeting on October the 11th. 4 candidates were interviewed on November the 15th. As a result of the interviews, 3 candidates were brought forward to participate in on-campus and open forum interviews on December 13th. Madam Chair, it was my sincere pleasure to serve as chair of the search committee. I support Chancellor Tiding's recommendation and make a hearty motion to hire Mr. Nathan Garrett as the next president of TCAT Nashville. And before I turn this back over to you, I'd like to say I've known Nate for a few years and worked with him on a couple of things. He's going to be a dynamic leader to replace Mark Lentz, which we really need. And with our other dynamic leader on White Bridge Road, Dr. Shauna Jackson, I look very forward to a day quickly when we're no longer going to say that TBR is the best kept secret on White Bridge Road. So cheers to those 2, and I can't wait to see them working together.
Well said, and thank you for the hearty motion. Regent Reed, if you would like to second that motion, since you served on the committee, I'd like to give you that opportunity. And in doing so, if you have any comments to add.
I would like to second that motion. Thank you very much. I'm not sure what's going on with my camera. I think it's my computer. But yes, I'm very excited. I've never personally met Nathan, but I've heard such great things about him. And I think he's going to take that lead and he's going to run with it. And we're going to see great things happening in Nashville and setting the standard for other TCATs as well in the state of Tennessee. So I'm excited. I'm excited to actually watch what happens there at that campus.
Excellent. Thank you. And thanks again to you for serving. Are there any other comments from the regents? Hearing none, after these 2 hearty endorsements, I will call on our secretary to call the roll once again to affirm the chancellor's recommendation of Nathan Garrett as the president of the TCAT Nashville.
Thank you, Vice Chair Reynolds. Regent Apple?
Aye.
Regent Burdine?
Aye.
Regent Duckett?
Aye.
Regent Green?
Aye.
Regent Hatch?
Aye.
Regent Powers?
Aye.
Regent Reed?
Aye.
Vice Chair Reynolds?
Aye.
Regent Barlin?
Aye.
Regent Wamp?
Sorry for the delay. Aye.
And Regent White.
Aye.
The motion carries unanimously.
Excellent. Thank you. Nathan Garrett, are you out there somewhere?
I am, Madam Vice Chair Reynolds.
Excellent. Congratulations. I would say welcome aboard, but you've been on board, but welcome to this new role, and we know you will do an outstanding job. So the floor is yours.
Well, I appreciate that, Madam Vice Chair Reynolds. Regents and Chancellor Tidings, I think earlier in the conversation it was, do we lose track of days? And I'll tell you, I have lived a week of my life between 6 o'clock this morning and now. I've been so excited to get to 1 o'clock. And so I'm so excited to be able to have the opportunity to address this committee and proud to serve. Thank you very much for the opportunity to lead TCAT Nashville. I'm excited to work with this talented team. I do want to say that President Lentz and his just character will influences me as we go forward. He was the definition of a good, honest man, and so I do want to take that and leverage that personality quality trait as we move into the future. Also, I want to briefly thank all my mentors that have put up with me for quite some time. Not only have they put up with me, but they've often corrected me and showed me a better way to move. And I just would not be here without those special individuals in my background. Also, special shout out to Regent Hatch. I know how much work it takes to lead one of those search committees, and you have always done it with professionalism and a commitment to student success. And so I do appreciate, and also Regent Reed for taking the time, but also worrying about Cliff over there in Crossville, and a chair, participating in this committee. So I know that that's a lot of work, and I appreciate all those efforts. Also, I want to thank Chancellor Tidings for her leadership and support throughout her time at the Tennessee Board of Regents. Chancellor Tidings' focus on technical training has been second to none in Tennessee, and has been instrumental in helping us make such big progress in the last several years. And finally, I want to give a big shout out and thank you to my wife and children. Just 15 minutes ago, she was down here making sure that my tie was straight, that I was ready. And so she takes care of me. And for those of you who know me, you understand that that's a full-time operation for her. So I do want to say thank you. So it is my goal to learn and leverage from the talented faculty and staff at TCAT Nashville. I want to build and maintain community partnerships in Middle Tennessee. And once again, I'm just humbled and proud to be in this position at TCAT Nashville. I look forward to working with this board well into the future and making TCAT Nashville the standard for world-class technical training. So again, thank you for your trust. Thank you for your support. And I hope each and every one of you have a Merry Christmas spent with family and friends. And we come back in January ready to knock this thing out of the park. And so again, thank you very much to the Regents, Madam Vice Chair and Chancellor Tidings for this opportunity.
Thank you, President Garrett. So does that feel good to hear?
Yes, ma'am. I'm very, very excited.
Excellent. Well, we love your enthusiasm. You're going to give all of us a spring in our step this afternoon, too. So thank you. We're excited for January 5th. Congratulations.
Hey, Vice Chair Reynolds.
Yes.
This is Regent Hatch. I just wanted to say, Nate, you're a smarter man than I thought when you give your wife thanks and credit. So good for that too.
I heard this is being recorded, so I wanted to go on the record. I can always hold that in trouble next time.
Regent Varlet, I think you wanted to add something.
I was just laughing when you said enthusiasm. I think you need to be a little more enthusiastic. You are contagious.
Indeed. That's a great way to put it. Thank you, Nathan. We're excited for you and for the potential for the system. Thanks for being on our team. So, I will turn back to the Chancellor as we make plans to replace yet another member of the team. And I know we all know and thanks so much of Jerry Young and the incredible work he has done at Morristown. Chancellor, fill us in on Jerry's retirement and our next steps, please.
Absolutely. And again, this one, it just comes hard to say because I really was not expecting Jerry to call me up and tell me he was ready to retire. I told him that he had not reached retirement age and I did not want to accept it, but unfortunately, I don't get a big say in that. He has decided that it is time for him to make that decision. And he said once he made it, it was very difficult. He said he took him 2 weeks to get the courage up to call me and tell me. But once he finally did, he was very comfortable with it. And he and his wife are excited and already have plans for May.
Wow. And you are going to present to us the criteria then for this search? Oh, did she freeze on me? Oh.
Yeah, I think she did.
Yeah, okay, I thought maybe it was me. Nope, she is frozen on us. Hey, Mariah, can you text the Chancellor? Let's see if she knows she needs to come back in here.
Yes, ma'am. I'm texting her right now.
Thank you.
can you hear me now?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Everything just went out. Jerry has served our system for the last 33 years.
Wow.
He began his career at TCAT Crossville in 1988 as a senior instructor in electronics technology. During his time as an instructor, he was recognized as the Technical Education Teacher of the Year for the state of Tennessee and the American Technical Education Association's Technical Educator Teacher of the Year for the Southeast. He was named Assistant Director at Crossville in 2005 and appointed president there in 2014, where he served until his appointment as president of TCAT Morristown in 2017. Before joining the TBR system, Jerry served in the United States Navy as an electronics technician first class, including service as the leading petty officer responsible for his ship's radar communications, navigation, and testing equipment. After his Navy service, he was field service engineer for combustion engineering from 1986 to 1988. And again, I'll have a lot more wonderful things to say about President Young as we go to our March meeting, but wanted you to be able to have enough today to vote on our criteria to move forward with the search, because we will have to move diligently with great speed in order to get him a new president in by May 1st. So, Madam Chair, if I could call on you for that criteria to be approved.
Thank you. You've all seen the criteria in the packet that was sent to us in preparation for the meeting. Does anyone have any questions or thoughts on that? And if not, we'll entertain a motion to approve that set of criteria.
I'll move for approval.
Thank you, Regent Burdine. A second?
Regent Duckett, second.
Thank you, sir. Any other comments or questions? If not, once again, Mariah, if you would do us the favor of calling the roll for the approval of the search criteria for a new president at TCAT Morristown.
Thank you. Regent Apple?
Aye.
Regent Burdine?
Aye.
Regent Duckett?
Aye.
Regent Green?
Aye.
Regent Hatch?
Aye.
Regent Powers?
Aye.
Regent Reed?
Aye.
Vice Chair Reynolds?
Aye.
Regent Barlin?
Aye.
Regent Wamp?
Aye.
And Regent White?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you all very much. And more from the Chancellor on the creation of the search committee here in the weeks to come. Chancellor, any further comments or announcements before we close?
No, again, just thanks to all of you. I will share one funny bit of information with you that Dr. Puryear and I had the opportunity to go do a quick turnaround trip in Dearborn, Michigan last week with Nathan Garrett. And I will tell you that we did taunt him the whole way and tell him that you had not voted on his presidency yet. So he needed to carry our bags all through the airport. Just a little hazing to start with. Thanks to each of you.
He felt right at home.
He did.
He felt right at home. Hey, and before we close too, and Chancellor, you may want to say one thing on this too. A really heartfelt thanks to Jerry King for being interim president at the TCAT Nashville. There was not a bump in the road thanks to Jerry King's leadership. He has been amazing these 4 or so months, and we are in his debt. Chancellor, anything to add there?
Absolutely, Regent Reynolds. He stepped right up to the plate in what were just extremely difficult situation and led that college remarkably well. So thank you for bringing that up again, because yes, his value to what he has given to us is immeasurable, and we cannot thank him enough. And we want to make sure that we do that at our board meeting as well, because he has really served greatly over the last several months. So thank you so much.
Excellent. Thank you. Well, with that, you guys, if there is no further business to come before the board today, Once again, as the Chancellor said, thanks for carving out this time. Most importantly, let's all adopt Nathan's contagious enthusiasm, as Danny put it, over this holiday season. Importantly, stay safe, have the happiest of holidays, and we look forward to talking with you in 2022, remarkably enough. Take care, all. Much appreciated. We are adjourned.